Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodia. I'd like to welcome you guys to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Sabertooth Reborn, a story arc that I really hated. Because the thing is, as I was discussing with one of my fantastic subscribers, that he really didn't like the return of Norman Osborn. And I can really relate to that because if a character's killed off, if you don't have like a really good reason and also an explanation to bring him back, don't bring him back. And the thing is, when they killed off Sabertooth, I felt like that was the end of the Sabertooth's arc. Like in that particular story arc where he was killed off, it felt like a really good closure to the character. And it also sort of marked like an end of a phase for Wolverine. And it really worked for me. So they bring him back. His comeback is tied to Romulus, this mysterious figure from Wolverine's past, who had been grooming Daken to be his. I was sort of left thinking because it's never really established what the hell actually Romulus wants. Like, he's a weird mix between a Sinister and Apocalypse figure. Like, he's been behind Wolverine's life and everything that's happened to him. He's been tied to Weapon X. In this particular story arc, it's sort of established that he's pushing a certain type of mutant in the forefront of mutant evolution. But what was established when Romulus first popped up? No, actually, during the story arc that set up the first appearance of Romulus, where Sabertooth was killed off, that mutants that were more animalistic actually were part of an offshot of the human race. They had that particular type of mutations. And these mutations were like regressions to their more animal state. That was something that was actually covered, or was quite a bit. There was a lot of focus on this during the Earth X trilogy, Earth X, Universe X, Paradise X. It was another reality, but it sort of explained that all these animalistic type of mutations are regressions to an earlier evolutionary state. So Romulus wants to get these more animalistic mutants to be on the top of the food chain and become dominant within the world. So in Wolverine's final confrontation against Romulus, when he takes down Daken during that particular story arc, Romulus was captured by Cloak and sent to the darker dimension. And his way to get out is actually Sabertooth, who comes back from the dead, kidnaps Dagger, forces Cloak to liberate Romulus. Here's another thing, like Wolverine by this time, past House of M, already got his memory back. But the writers sort of get picky and choosy. Like, he gets all his memories back, even his childhood, but he doesn't remember about Romulus or certain things about everything that's tied to this guy. So again, that's sort of frustrating. Like, if you read Wolverine for a long time, Wolverine's memories become a retconning factory, because Weapon X, since they had implanted memories in his mind, writers have always taken advantage to say, this happened to him, and then another writer would come along and say, no, that was an implanted memory, then now this. Again, we have this sort of situation with Romulus. That's something that's becomes so tiresome. And what I do have to say about this particular story arc takes place in Wolverine 310 to 313. Simone Bianchi's art, Simone Bianchi, it's top notch. It's really good. Writer Jeph Loeb's decisions where he takes the story, at least it didn't work for me. So we have the confrontation between Wolverine and Romulus, and out of nowhere, we get this red-headed lady that we discover in the story is Romulus' sister. I'm actually not sure how to pronounce this thing in English, because it's part of the myth of the founders of Rome, Romulus and Remo. So this is Romulus' sister. This redhead with the sword saves Wolverine's life. Redheads have always been a big part of Wolverine's life. But what Wolverine discovers is when they're trying to hunt down Romulus and Sabertooth, they discover in the Weapon X base vat upon vat of Sabertooth clones. So, and this really takes the piss out of that the final battle between Wolverine and Sabertooth. He had killed a clone. Clones, always, I hate clones. There's only one good clone character, Well, sometimes Ben Reilly, I do like him, is Madeline Pryor. She's the only clone that I like within Marvel Comics. Outside of that, I feel like when they use clones, it's always a lazy plot device. The thing is, Wolverine killed a Sabertooth clone, while the real Sabertooth, he stopped trying to kill Wolverine. He suppresses like his more animalistic side and becomes more cunning. And after this, we're gonna get a Sabertooth that's more like a mob boss, and he's gonna hang out with Mystique and do stuff in Madripoor. Like, at least I felt it just didn't work for me, this reintroduction of Sabertooth. So Wolverine fights against horde upon horde of Sabertooth clones, uses the Blackbird to blow up the whole Sabertooth factory. They all seem to die, even though they all have healing factors. So another thing that we discover is that whole thing of mutant offshot race, those who are mutants that have more animalistic traits. It was just a lie from Romulus, that's not a thing. So they bring back Sabertooth, which I didn't like. You know that they're gonna do it, but I feel like the character should have stayed dead. Then they retcon a pretty interesting idea of this offshot mutant race. Gone. No more. There's not. That's not a thing anymore. Then what we discover, they bring back Wolverine's patchy memory. Another thing that I really hated. And we discover that back in the day, Wolverine, with Romulus and Remo, actually had taken over the Weapon X race, and that Wolverine voluntarily went through the procedure to become this weapon. And this whole thing took place because Wolverine was just a guinea pig with the whole implementation of the adamantium, so Romulus can do the whole procedure and he can get claws. And just the whole idea and concept, oh man, it just didn't really, at least I didn't like it. There's one badass moment where Romulus does get the adamantium skeleton and he pops out 5 claws, because he used to use these gloves with the claws. So I thought that was sort of cool. The only good thing about this story is that Sabertooth jumps into the fray between the battle between Wolverine and Romulus. There's a 3-way battle. And basically Sabertooth screws everyone over. He plants a bomb and tries to kill everyone and can't come out on top. So I'm going to leave this video here. Sabertooth Reborn is a story that sadly I'm going to probably trade away. I feel really frustrated when they retcon stuff and unnecessarily bring back villains, even though Sabertooth is like a legacy villain. But I didn't think he's worth to bring back if you're not going to bring him back with a really awesome story or something like that, something worthwhile to do. So hope you guys liked this video. See you guys next time. Bye.